Swati? Hello. Yes, we can start. Am I audible? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am? Yeah. So, a very warm good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Shahnawaz Sayed, a student of third year Information Technology Department, and all the staff and students of GHRIBM Institute of Business Management Jalgaon, an autonomous institution affiliated to KBC NMU Jalgaon, welcomes you all for this wonderful session on the topic National Education Policy, organized by Computer Science and Engineering, Information Technology, Data Science and Artificial Intelligence departments in association with IIC. I wholeheartedly welcome our special guest, Dr. S.B. Jaju sir, learned professors, and all the distinguished invitees, and thank them from the core of my heart for accepting our invitation. Now, I would like to introduce our today's resource person. Our today's resource person is Dr. S.B. Jaju sir. He has done his master's degree in industrial engineering from VNIT Nagpur. He has done his PhD from Rashtriya Sant Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University, and he has also done MBA from IGNOU. He is presently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering of GHRIBM College of Engineering. He has more than 22 years of teaching experience. He has the credit of more than 100 research papers published in national and international journals and conferences. He has attended more than 50 symposiums, short-term courses, training, workshops, etc. He has delivered more than 50 expert lectures in short-term training programs and workshops in mechanical engineering and program chair in IIC-TET. He is serving as member on editorial board, reviewer of international journal conferences. He is also certified lead auditor of ISO 9001:2008 quality management system by IRCA UK. Really appreciating, sir. Now, I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. S.B. Jaju sir to get started with the session. Before that, a sincere request to all the participants to please stay on mute for the smooth conductance of this session. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Is this visible? Yes, Swati? Yeah. I'll just share the screen. I think so. Whether this PPT is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Sorry. This slide is visible? Okay, and I'm audible also. Okay. So, thank you, Ms. Swati and Master Shahnawaz, and the management of the institute, GHRIBM Institute of Business Management, Jalgaon, and dear attendees, faculty members, and students. Good afternoon, all. I must thank GHRIBM College of Engineering and Business Management, Jalgaon, for giving me the opportunity to interact with you all on I must say, basically the topic of discussion, which everybody is aware of, that National Education Policy 2020 has been into place since last 1 year, and people, they want to know about what is there in this National Education Policy 2020, what reforms this government has done. So I must appreciate the efforts taken by GHRIBM Institute of Business Management, Jalgaon, and Institute Innovation Council of the same institute. They are celebrating this National Education Day with the discussion on NEP 2020. It's a great moment. I must appreciate the efforts of this institute. Now, with the scientific and technological advances which are you must be witnessing, that there is a rise of big data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Many unskilled jobs worldwide are being taken over by machines, right? And due to this, there is a need for skilled workforce. See, before coming to NEP 2020, we must know the background which was there, which has basically triggered to put this policy into place so quickly. So there's a need for a skilled workforce, particularly involving mathematics, computer science, and data science, and in conjunction with multidisciplinary abilities across the sciences, social sciences, and humanities is increasing, and you are witnessing that. You are witnessing that core branches means the demand has come down, but the emerging branches like computer science and engineering with IoT specialization or cyber security, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, they are in need, right? They are in demand. People, they want to go for that, right? And there are a lot of other changes are also taking place with the climate change, increasing population, and the decreasing in the natural resources. There will be the natural shift in how we meet the world's energy, right? Water requirement, food and sanitation needs, again resulting in the need for new skilled labor, particularly in biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, and climate science, along with the social science and other disciplines. Right? Now, the growing emergence of epidemics and pandemic, you have witnessed that. Right? Last 1.5 years, more than that, we are witnessing COVID-19 when it came, and we could feel the effect from at least March 2020, and almost 2 years are over. So this growing emergence of epidemics and pandemic will also call for basically collaborative research focusing on the infectious disease management and development of vaccines and the resultant social issues, right? Which will be forcing us to learn multidisciplinary aspects of the higher education. Then there will be growing demand for humanities and arts as India is moving towards a developed country, becoming a developed country, right? And it would be emerged amongst the top 3 economies in the world, right? And that will also require the excellence in humanities and arts. right? Now, the technological landscape is changing, then the employment landscape is also changing, right? Basically, it is becoming increasingly critical that students not only learn, but more important, learn how to learn. Basically, that is very important. Learn the skill how to learn. That is very important. Right? Education thus must move towards less content and more towards learning about how to think critically and solve problems, how to be creative and multidisciplinary, and how to innovate, adapt, and absorb new material in novel and changing fields. Pedagogy also, how we are teaching in the classroom, pedagogy also must evolve. Not only the content, but how we teach that content is also very important. Pedagogy must evolve to make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, learner centered, discussion based, flexible, and of course, enjoyable. That is very, very important. It should be enjoyable. Right? Now, the curriculum must include, you can see here, the curriculum must include basic arts, crafts, humanities, games, sports and fitness, languages, literature, culture and values, in addition to science and mathematics. Right, to develop all aspects and capabilities of learners and make education more well-rounded, useful and fulfilling to the learner. Education must build character. Enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate and caring, while at the same time they should be prepared for gainful employment, because at the end they should earn for themselves and their family. Right? Now, there is a gap, basically. There is a gap between the current state of learning outcomes and what is required. It must be bridged. It must be bridged through undertaking major reforms that bring the highest quality, equity, and integrity into the system, from early childhood care and education through higher education. Equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners, regardless of social or economic background. Right? Now, India has witnessed this rich heritage of ancient and eternal Indian knowledge. The pursuit of knowledge, that is Gyan, wisdom, that is Pragya, and truth, that is Satya, was always considered in Indian thought and philosophy as the highest human goal. The aim of education in the ancient India was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for the complete realization and liberalization of the self. So one should know about oneself, basically. That is very important at the end. Right? Now, world-class institutions of ancient India we must know, and people have come here to take the education in India, right? Set the highest standards of multidisciplinary teaching and research, and hosted scholars and students from across backgrounds and across all countries in the world. The Indian education system produced great scholars such as Charaka, Susruta, Aryabhatta, Varamika, Bhaskaracharya, Brahmagupta, Chanakya, and so on and so forth, numerous. They have made significant contribution to the world knowledge in diverse fields like mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, medical science, surgery, yoga, fine arts, and lot many. Right? Teacher was at the center of fundamental reform in the education system. You are knowing, since attendees are students and faculty members, students, you should know that teacher is at the center of the fundamental reform in the education system. The new education policy must help re-establish teachers at all levels as the most respected and essential members of our society, because they truly shape our next generation of citizens. It must do everything to empower teachers and help them to do their job as effectively as possible. Right? The new education policy must help recruit the very best and brightest, should be attracted to enter the teaching profession at all levels by ensuring the respect, dignity, and autonomy, along with the means basically the good livelihood also basically they should get along with that. While in the system, basic methods of quality control and accountability has to be there. There has to be the mechanism for this. Now, good education system, how we means what we think about good education system. It is one in which every student feels welcomed and cared. They feel like where they are safe and you get a stimulating learning environment where a wide range of learning experiences are offered and good physical infrastructure and appropriate resources conducive to learning are available to all the students. Attaining these qualities must be the goal of every educational institution. However, at the same time, there must also be seamless integration and coordination across institutions and across all stages of education. Now, for this, there are few fundamental principles which we need to think about on which this education policy is based. So, first, foremost fundamental principle is recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student. That is very important. Then, highest priority is to be given to the foundational literacy and numeracy by all students to grade 3. All students to grade 3. There has to be flexibility. Learners should have the ability to choose their learning courses and programs like in the choice-based grade system. You are witnessing that. There should not be hard separations like we have today between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams, which really means eliminate. It should be eliminated so that this hierarchy should be broken, and students should be allowed to learn anything based on their interest. Then we should be focusing on multidisciplinary and holistic education across the sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports, so that you learn multidisciplinary aspects of education. Then this NEP is basically giving emphasis on conceptual understanding, creativity, and critical thinking. Not only that, you are just going with the rote learning, you are just mugging up and you are just giving examination and you are just getting the certificates, but you are logically thinking. And you might be witnessing that this government is taking a lot of steps to build up the innovation by conducting these hackathons, by even they are conducting so many competitions at national and international level.
Sir?
Sorry. Yes. The slide is not changing?
Sir, I just wanted to... no, sir. I just wanted to let all of us know that we are having the esteemed presence of Dr. Pranav Charka, sir, Dean Academics, GHRIBM.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, sir. Please continue. There is nothing.
Yeah, welcome, Dr. Pranav. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I would like to tell you this. Sir, most welcome, sir. I would like to tell you, Dr. Jaju, sir, is my guide. I am his student. So I have no privilege.
No, I also feel basically proud to see my student at this position, right? So let us continue with that.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Sorry.
So basically, we must focus on this creativity and critical thinking, so that we should encourage the logical thinking of the students by conducting a lot of hackathons, competitions, which now government is taking efforts. Basically, government has means taken steps to establish the Institution Innovation Council at the institute, and they have given the list of activities which should be conducted by the IIC. Even they have started with the concept of innovation ambassadors and whatnot. And you are the students, you are fortunate enough to be a part of this institute, wherein a lot of means initiatives are being taken up, which are being promoted by Government of India. So basically, along with this, ethics and human and constitutional values are also very, very important, right? We must know our constitution. Earlier, when we were studying our engineering courses, that time we were not learning all these things. There was a complete hard separation when we did our engineering. But you might be witnessing in the autonomy that a lot of multidisciplinary learning is possible with even minor and honors in place, right? So that is very important. Now, along with this, the focus has to be on regular formative assessment. Now, this formative and summative assessments they are very popular in CBSE, but we should know this basically, that rather than the summative assessment, you should go for the regular formative assessment. And now, continuous evaluation is the most important aspect, instead of evaluating at the end with a lot of means memory testing. Instead of that, then life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, that is also very important. Many times we are unable to express ourselves, so that is the focus of that new education policy. Then extensive use of technology. Now you could see that in last 2 years, technology has only given us the opportunity. Today also, I am able to deliver the lecture online due to technology. Right? Online education is being now, will become a part of this our conventional learning also. Means at least government has given that you can go up to 40% of online learning. Even the students can have their learning from the SWAYAM courses and NPTEL courses, which are available from Government of India free of cost. Only for examinations they have to register by paying the fees. Otherwise, the learning is free of cost. Then we must promote multilingualism, so that the language barrier is to be removed, and it will increase the employment opportunities also, because many countries they are still not means following the English as their language, but they are following their own language. Like Japan is following Japanese, then Germany is following German language, and there are courses being carried out by different agencies to teach such languages, so that you can get the employment very easily or go for the education easily in such countries by learning that basically that language. Now, there has to be the respect for diversity and respect for the local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policy, wherein always keeping in mind that education is a concurrent subject. Students should be able to get the opportunity, and not because of only the poor financial background they are unable to get that education, but the government is taking care that they should not be deprived from getting the education due to this. So full equity and inclusion and equal opportunity to all should be available. Then synergy in curriculum across all levels of education, right from the childhood, schooling and primary education, secondary, higher secondary, and this higher education. There has to be the synergy in curriculum across all levels of education. It is not like that means in schools you cannot teach. Even you should know that now in the schools they are teaching artificial intelligence, machine learning, solar, they are teaching in the school, right? So now people have means given a thought in that. And teachers and faculty are the heart of the learning process. They are the heart of the learning process, basically. Now, basically, there are statutory bodies which gives the approval to the institute, and like you might be knowing that AICT is there, then UGC is there, or your university. They give the different approvals, either in the form of affiliation or regulatory approvals or some grants or like that. So there has to be the regulatory framework to ensure the integrity and transparency, but they should not be so tight, basically. So light but tight regulatory framework has to be there, basically, and they should give the enough autonomy to involve the creativity of the faculty and the strengths of the institute. Then research is also given the equal weightage along with the academics, and they should be made the core requisite for outstanding education and development. And then the continuous review of progress based on sustained research and regular assessment by educational experts. And with this background in place, this National Education Policy 2020 came into. Right? It was proposed by Ministry of Education, which was earlier known to be Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, Government of India, approved by the Union Cabinet of India on 29 July 2020. And the policy is focusing on vision of India's new education system. It aims to transform Indian education system by 2040. Okay? Enough time period has been given to implement a lot of reforms which has been presented. Now, this current policy NEP 2020 replaces the National Policy on Education 1986, which was modified in 1992, which was majorly focusing on access and equity. Now, the unfinished agenda of NEP 1986 is appropriately dealt in new NEP 2020. Since 1986-1992, Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 is a major development, and after that, this NEP 2020 came into the existence. Now, the vision of this national education policy to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, to develop knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that support responsible commitment to human rights, sustainable development and living, and global well-being, thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. They have made few clarifications, basically. Government clarified that no one will be forced to study any particular language, because a lot of discussion are taking place that higher education would be offered in the regional language or this, that, right? And it has started also. There is nothing wrong in that, but government clarified that no one will be forced to study any particular language, and that the medium of instruction will not be shifted from English to any regional language. Right? The language policy in NEP is a broad guideline and advisory in nature, and it is up to the states, institutions, and schools to decide on the implementation. The national education policy should be implemented in all schools over India by 2026. Right? Now, the policy raises the importance of mother tongue, which was lot of times it was debated and it was promoted at various forums, right? Why we should not promote the mother tongue and regional languages, right? Medium of instruction until class 5 and preferably beyond should be in these languages because they learn very easily into that. But it is not, means basically it will not be the binding. Sanskrit and foreign languages will also be given emphasis. The policy also states that no language will be imposed onto the students. Right? A more detailed language strategy, right? More detailed language strategy would be released in the National Curriculum Framework in 2021. It is about basically still means it was planned in 2021, but in this 2022 it will be released. Note was also made that there were already institutions which had implemented this language policy 60 years ago, such as Sardar Patel Vidyalaya. That note was also being mentioned in that NEP 2024. The Education Policy of 1986 and the Right to Education Act 2009 promoted usage of the mother tongue as an advisory guideline, not as a compulsory guideline, but as an advisory guideline. Now, the reforms which took place in NEP 2020 will discuss in different parts. Part 1 as a school education, right? So we begin with school education. Now, the previous academic structure was ages 6 to 16, wherein up to 10th we were learning, right? And then ages 16 to 18. So 10 plus 2 life system was there, 10th and 11th, 12th, right? But now they have added this, wherein people from 3 to 6 years, which is the most means important period of learning of child. So that has been also taken care, and they have proposed that 3 years Anganwadi or preschool or Bal Vatika ages 3 to 6 years, means even though the parents were well qualified and those who could afford, they were sending the children to pre-nursery and nursery and kindergarten education even earlier also to this policy, but not each child was given that opportunity. Now government is making it part of that national education policy. Then after spending 3 years here in this childhood education, 3 to 6 years, this has been taken care here, and then 6 to 8 is 2 years education, wherein class 1 and 2, and then class 3 to 5, wherein 3-year education, ages 8 to 11. So you can see 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So you can see that 5 plus 3, 8 plus 3, 11 and 15 years of education, wherein earlier you were having 12 years of education. 3 years of education in the childhood that has been added and made a part of that, and they have said that it should be foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle and secondary. Let us see in detail this. This foundational stage divided into 2 parts, 3 years of preschool or Anganwadi, followed by classes 1 and 2 in primary school. This will cover children of ages 3 to 8 years. The focus of studies will be only activity-based learning. Then preparatory stage, classes 3 to 5, which will cover the ages 8 to 11 years. It will gradually introduce subjects like speaking, reading, writing, physical education, languages, art, science and mathematics. Then middle stage, wherein classes 6 to 8, covering age group 11 to 14, it will introduce students to be more abstract concepts, in subjects of mathematics, sciences, social sciences, arts and humanities in these classes 6, 7 and 8. And secondary stage, classes 9 to 12, covering the ages of 14 to 19 years. It is again divided into two parts, classes 9 and 10 covering the first phase, while classes 11 and 12 covering the second phase. So again, they are not breaking this boundary, like means whether people were confused at whether 10th and 12th that would be broken and it will be in continuation of 9 to 12. No, that will not be like that, but their focus will change, their way of teaching, their way of learning by the students is changing. So the first phase is 9th and 10th and second phase is 11th and 10th. These 4 years of study are intended to inculcate basically multidisciplinary study coupled with depth and critical thinking. Multiple options of subjects will be provided here for students to choose from here, like we are choosing now also arts, science, commerce or other backgrounds, humanities, right? Now early childhood care and education, the foundation of learning. Over 85% of a child's cumulative brain development occurs prior to the age of 6, indicating the critical importance of appropriate care and stimulation of the brain in the early years in order to ensure healthy brain development and growth. And that's why this NEP has focused from 3 years to 6 years of the age group, which was what earlier. Even though the well qualified and the economically strong parents were doing that. Presently, this quality early childhood care and education is not available to the crores of young children, particularly children from socio-economically disadvantaged backgrounds. And hence they have decided to have the strong investment in this early childhood care and education, which has the potential to give all young children such access, enabling them to participate and flourish in the educational system throughout their lives. Universal provisioning of quality early childhood development, care and education must thus be achieved as soon as possible and no later than 2030 to ensure that all students entering grade 1 are school ready. That is very important. Then the foundation literacy and numeracy, which is an urgent and necessary prerequisite to learning. The ability to read and write and perform basic operations with numbers is a necessary foundation and an indispensable prerequisite for all future schooling and lifelong learning. However, various governmental as well as non-governmental surveys indicate that we are currently in a learning crisis. A large proportion of students currently in elementary school, estimated to be over 5 crore in number, have not attained foundational literacy and numeracy. That is the ability to read and comprehend basic text and the ability to carry out basic addition and subtraction with Indian numerals. See, before NEP could be placed and approved, the committee worked and they have conducted surveys and they have talked with so many stakeholders and they have understood the various problems means currently the structure is being experiencing, and then they have incorporated those reforms into this NEP, and that's why even government has made mandatory that NEP sessions has to be taken at every college. Even government is also conducting those sessions free of cost, and even they have asked innovation ambassadors to conduct this session. Since I am also innovation ambassador of this Ministry of Innovation Council, Ministry of Education, Government of India, so we are trying to tell what is there in the NEP 2020 so that each one know that in detail what is available in, even though when it will become reality it will take some time, but definitely at least the thought process has started. That is very important. Thought process has started, right? Now their focus was to curtail dropout rates and ensuring universal access to education at all levels. One of the primary goals of the schooling system must be to ensure that children are enrolled in and are attending school. That is very important. They should not become a dropout from school, right? Through initiatives like this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and the Right to Education Act, they have made remarkable basically improvement in attending the means or improving the higher enrollment in the elementary education. But retaining the children in the latter grades of schooling system is still a concern. And you can see that the gross enrollment ratio, you can see that grade 6 to 8 was 90.9%. In 9th and 10th, it is 79.3%, and grade 11 and 12 you can see 56.5%. So consistent drop in the gross enrollment ratio is there. Almost 50% of the students, they are not going beyond 12th. So dropout rate increases from grade 5 to grade 8, right? And there is a need to take the efforts at the national level to ensure the decrease in the dropout rate and ensuring that each and everybody have the access to the quality education. That is very important, right? Now curriculum and pedagogy in the schools, they are also changing. The learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable and engaging. The foundational stage will consist of 5 years of foundational stage, right? With flexible multi-level play and activity based learning, right? 3 to 6 plus 6 to 8 years, so 3 to 8 years. Then the preparatory stage will comprise 3 years of education building on the play, discovery, activity based. Then the middle stage will comprise 3 years of education building on the pedagogical and curricular style of the preparatory stage, right? With the introduction of subject teachers for learning and discussion of the more abstract concepts in each across the sciences, mathematics, arts, social sciences and humanities. And the last, that is covering from 9th standard to 12th standard, the secondary stage will comprise of 4 years of multidisciplinary study building on the subject-oriented pedagogical and curricular style of the middle stage, but with the greater depth, greater critical thinking, greater attention to the life aspirations, and greater flexibility and student choice of the subjects here, because we are covering. And right now also, when we say like 12th is the critical time wherein we are choosing our career, and many people, they are choosing the career at the 10th level also, and they are going for the diploma courses, and then they are joining the degree programs right now. Now teachers, again I'm focusing here that teachers truly shape the future of our children and therefore the future of our nation. It is because of this noblest role that the teacher in India was the most respected member of society. The motivation and empowerment of teachers is required to ensure the best possible future for our children and our nation, right? Then equitable and inclusive education, that is learning for all. Education is the single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality. Inclusive and equitable education is an essential goal and is also critical, right, in achieving inclusive and equitable society in which every citizen has the opportunity to dream and they have the access to the quality education so that they can contribute to the nation. Education must aim to benefit India's children so that no child loses any opportunity to learn and excel because of circumstances either by its birth or background. And hence, since long, everybody is striving hard that equal opportunity has to be there, right to education has to be there for every child. This has also been focused and is a part of NEP. Then efficient resourcing and effective governance through school complexes and clusters have been focused, while the establishment of primary schools in every habitation across the country driven by the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, which is now being called as Samagra Shiksha scheme, and other important efforts across the states, which has helped to increase the gross enrollment. Small school sizes have rendered it economically not viable, and that's why this, for better operational or economy, these school complexes and cluster concepts are being introduced. Teachers often teach multiple grades at a time and teach multiple subjects, including subjects in which they may not have the prior background, and hence it has to be taken care that the teachers from different backgrounds are to be taken up, and even music, arts and sports are to be given importance, which earlier were not given importance. Then standard setting and accreditation for school education was also proposed. Not for only higher education. The goal of the school education regulatory system must be to continually improve the educational outcomes. It must not overly restrict the schools or prevent innovation or demoralize the teachers, principals and the students. But regulation must aim to empower schools and teachers with trust. But still, there has to be the control and accountability, and they must maintain the standards in the school, which everybody was criticizing. Right? Then, school education, examination in classes 2, 5 and 8 only they are proposing. Right? Instead of exams being held every academic year, they are proposing to have 3 exams only in classes 2, 5 and 8. Board exams will be continued to be held for classes 10 and 12, but will be redesigned. Standards for this will be established by an assessment body, PARAK, Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. And it would be conducted twice a year, offered up to 2 attempts, and there would be 2 parts in the examination paper, objective and descriptive, so that they get enough opportunity to understand the MCQ type of questions also. Now the policy aims at basically reducing the curriculum load of the students. The curriculum load of the students is to be reduced and allow them to be more interdisciplinary and multilingual. Right? For example, if a student wants to pursue fashion studies with physics, or if one wants to learn bakery with chemistry, they should be allowed to do so, which is right now not possible. Report cards will be holistic. Not only they are just telling the numbers that how much you have obtained marks out of, but they would be revealing the students' skills, like CBSE was still doing in the schools. They were writing the skills about the individual student, not only in a generic way, but individual students, what that individual student has the skills and what is the unique features of that student, that was there. Right? Coding will be introduced. See, coding means even in higher education we still are not at par with, but coding will be introduced from class 6 and experiential learning will be adopted. The midday meal scheme will be extended to include breakfast. More focus will be given to students' health, particularly mental health, through the deployment of counselors and social workers. Right now, counselors are only available in good schools and colleges. Now, the interest to us, part 2, higher education. Extremely important. Higher education plays an extremely important role in promoting human as well as societal well-being. Higher education significantly contributes towards the economic development of the nation and sustainable livelihoods of individuals. As India moves towards becoming a knowledge economy and society, more and more young Indians are likely to aspire for higher education. Now, major problems currently faced by the higher education system in India: severely fragmented higher educational ecosystem, less emphasis on the cognitive skills and learning outcomes. But with nowadays, every educational system, higher education institution is going for outcome-based education, so this will go from the institution. But now they are making the part of this, that cognitive skills and learning outcomes need to be focused. Right now, the problem is rigid separation of disciplines with early specializations. If you have taken arts, but at some point of time, if you wish to learn science, it is not possible right now, but it will be possible with this NEP, which is currently in place. Limited access, particularly in socio-economical disadvantaged areas with few higher education institutes that teach in local languages. Limited teacher and institutional autonomy, inadequate mechanisms for merit-based career management, lesser emphasis on research, and ineffective regulatory system, large affiliating universities resulting in low standards of undergraduate education. And due to this, complete overhaul and re-energizing of the higher education was a need. So moving towards a higher educational system consisting of large multidisciplinary universities and colleges with at least one in or near every district, and with more higher educational institutes across India that would offer medium of instruction or programs in local or Indian language. Moving towards a more multidisciplinary undergraduate education, moving towards faculty and institutional economy. So all the problems which have been faced are being taken care in this current time. Right? So light but tight regulation by a single regulator for higher education, which is right now there is IIC, there is UGC. So many compliances are to be done by the institution. So institutional restructuring and consolidation will be done. The main thrust of this policy regarding higher education is to end the fragmentation of higher education by transforming higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities, colleges. Right now means if we are offering only engineering or management courses, but there would be availability of arts, science or commerce courses also, or even students will have the opportunity to learn these courses if they are not available there from other institutions also, even though their parent institution would be different. So they can take few courses from other institutions, which is right now also permitted through credit transfer scheme. Right? So this would basically help build vibrant communities of scholars and peers, enable students to become well-rounded across disciplines including artistic, creative and analytic subjects, as well as sports, develop active research communities across disciplines, and cross-disciplinary research will be promoted with this approach basically. Graded autonomy is being emphasized here in this National Education Policy 2020. A state-wise mechanism for granting graded autonomy to colleges through a transparent system of graded accreditation will be established. Right now, if you go through the notification of UGC for graded autonomy, you will see those institutions who are being NAAC accredited. With their score, they are getting the different privileges. If the score is from 3.01 to 3.25, 3.26 to 3.5 or 3.51 and above, they are given different kinds of autonomy. Even they are given the autonomy even without the on-site visit also. So that type of autonomy is being proposed in this national education policy. This open distance learning, institutions will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs provided they are accredited to do so, in order to enhance their offerings, improve access, increase gross enrollment ratio. And they are right now means only few universities are having the authorities to offer these online degree programs, but now they are means they will be including the institutions which are accredited or which have good rank in NIRF to offer these online degree programs at their institutions along with the universities. Now, single stream higher education institutions will be phased out over time, which is currently the all generally higher education institutes are focus institutions. Either they are in single discipline or at the most two disciplines like engineering and management, or mostly institutions are only engineering, means offering engineering courses, but they would be phased out in a systematic way, and multidisciplinary institutions will come into the place instead of single stream higher education institution. Right, so higher education institutions to become multidisciplinary. By 2040, all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions and shall aim to have larger student enrollments, preferably in the thousands. Right now, we are just admitting only 400 or 500 or at the most 800,000 students in a year. They want that there should be 5,000 students, 10,000 students being learning in that educational system. Right? Shall aim to have larger students enrollments for optimal use of infrastructure and resources and for the creation of vibrant multidisciplinary communities. Right? So first they are planning to make all higher education institutions become multidisciplinary by 2030, and gradually they would convert this to the higher education offering degree programs by the institution by 2040. Then the more means we go towards the holistic and multidisciplinary education, you means earlier also people used to say that 64 colors or arts basically you should know. Right now we are not means thinking of that. We are thinking that we are just learning this much, only one stream, that mechanical engineering, and we will just learn the subjects of mechanical engineering, not the subjects of either constitution or history or music or like that. So basically that should also be the part, and they should also be means offered to the students if they want to learn. That is very important. More holistic and multidisciplinary education. Very attractive feature of this NEP, and the point which students is interested to know about that, multiple exit options in higher education system, bachelor's degree program. 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's degree with multiple exit options. If suppose person joins this BTech program for 4 years, and after 1 year, completing 1 year, he leaves that program, the student doesn't get anything. Instead of only the mark sheet of that 1 year or 2 semesters. But here they are planning to give the certificate after completing 1 year of study, diploma after completing 2 years of study, bachelor's degree after completion of 3 years program, and a 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's degree with the research after completing the 4 years, right? Then flexible master's program and PhD after 4 years bachelor's degree. So higher education institutions will have flexibility to offer different designs of master's program. There may be 2-year program with the second year devoted entirely to research for those who have completed the 3-year bachelor's program, or for students completing a 4 years bachelor's program with research, there could be only 1-year master's program. And this way there may be an integrated 5-year bachelor's or master's program. Undertaking a PhD shall require either a master's degree as a qualification or a 4-year bachelor's degree with research. Means directly with 4-year bachelor's degree with research, one can pursue the PhD. And MPhil program shall be discontinued, basically. Multidisciplinary education and research universities they want to have, right? Like MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research universities, right? At par with IITs and IIMs, and they would be offering holistic and multidisciplinary education. And their aim is to attain highest global standards in quality education. That is very important. Now, optimal learning environments and support for the students. For effective learning, or I must say that effective learning requires a comprehensive approach that involves appropriate curriculum, not only curriculum but proper pedagogy, not only proper pedagogy but the proper formative assessment, and that should be continuous, and the adequate student support. So ideal curriculum must be interesting and relevant and updated regularly to align with the latest knowledge requirements, and they must meet specified learning outcomes. And high quality pedagogy is then necessary to successfully impart the curricular material to the students. And then assessment methods are also very important. We should focus on their learning abilities, skill development, and their scientific know-how. That is very important. And they should be able to apply the knowledge for the solving of the problems being faced by the society. That is very important, right? Then internationalization. NEP 2020 facilitates this larger number of international students studying in India, and also provide greater mobility to the students in India who may wish to visit, study at, transfer credits to, or carry out research at institutions abroad, and vice versa. Internationally relevant curricula, sciences, social sciences, and engineering, and management, and you should see to it that meaningful opportunity for social engagement. That is very important. Then quality residential facilities and on-campus support, which will further attract these global students to our campus. Student activity and participation. Students are the prime stakeholders in the education. Vibrant campus life is essential for high-quality teaching learning processes. Opportunities for participation in sports, cultural activities, arts, clubs, eco-clubs, activity clubs, community service projects, and right now, government is taking a lot of initiatives to even fund the clubs of the institutions. They have started many schemes to even help the institutions to develop the student clubs and conduct number of activities under that club. Then counseling systems for handling stress and emotional problems which the students may face. Right? Then the financial support for the students. Financial assistance to students shall be made available through various measures, Efforts will be made to incentivize the merit of the students belonging to SC, ST, OBC and other disadvantaged, socially disadvantaged groups. National scholarship portal will be expanded to support, foster and track the progress of students receiving scholarships. Private higher educational institutions will be encouraged to offer larger number of free ships and scholarships to their students. Right? Then motivated, energized and capable faculty. The most important factor, or I must say the backbone of the higher education institutions is the quality and engagement of its faculty. So various initiatives towards providing faculty with professional development opportunities. Faculty will be given freedom to design their own curricular and pedagogical approaches with the approved framework, including textbook and reading material selections, assignments and assessments. Empowering the faculty to conduct innovative teaching, research and surveys as they see best will be a key motivator and enabler for them to do truly outstanding creative work for the students. Then equity and inclusion in higher education is focused. Entry into quality higher education can open a vast array of possibilities that can lift both individuals as well as communities out of the cycles of disadvantage. So for this reason, making quality higher education opportunities available to all individuals must be among the highest priorities. So whether they are from socio disadvantaged group or economically disadvantaged group, no one should be deprived of the higher education.
ITचे लेक्चर चालू होते कोणते कोणते एकच आलं एमएलए
Higher Education Council of India will be formed, HECI, to improve the gross enrollment ratio. National Higher Education Regulatory Council to regulate higher education, including teacher education, while excluding medical and legal education. Then one accreditation council would be there, National Accreditation Council, a meta-accrediting body. Then Higher Education Grants Council will be formed, which will club together these funding and financing of opportunities at universities and colleges, replace the existing National Council for Teacher Education, All India Council for Technical Education and the University Grants Commission. And together you will have the Higher Education Grants Council. Then General Education Council, GEC, to frame the graduate attributes, which are now program outcomes, namely learning outcomes expected, framing a national higher education policy framework, where NHE, QF, which are now governing your skill programs. Then National Council for Teacher Education, NCT, a professional standard setting body under the General Education Council. Right? Then professional standard setting bodies, professional council such as Veterinary Council of India, Council of Architecture, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, and National Council for Vocational Education and Training. Now, you might be knowing about this NTA, National Testing Agency. Entrance examinations for universities across the country, in addition to JEE mains and NEP. IITs are advised to make changes with regard to the diversity of learning, internationalize the education in India. Foreign universities can now set up campuses in India. And all these reforms which have been given in the NEP will be slowly implemented. And each implementation will be notified by these agencies, either UGC, AICT, Ministry of Education, time to time with enough detailing out. Means it will not be, means not only this the NEP of 200 pages or 300 pages or 400 pages, but each and every implementation will have its own detailing, so that the effective implementation will be possible at every level. Teacher education in NEP 2020, to become a teacher, a 4-year Bachelor of Education will be the minimum requirement needed by 2030. Recruitment process will also be strengthened and made transparent. NCTE will frame national curriculum framework for teachers education by 2021 and a national professional standards for teachers by 2022. Then vocational education, the 12th 5-year plan, which projected only approximate 5% workforce in the age group of 19 to 24 equipped with the formal vocational education, wherein you can see the developed nations like USA, the number is 52%, Germany 75%, and South Korea it is as high as 96%, and hence it is very much necessary that we focus on this vocational education in our nation. Catalyzing the quality academic research in all fields through a new National Research Foundation, NRF. Because if you see the research and innovation investment, only 0.69% of GDP in India, and you can see other developed nations, 2.8% in USA, 4.3% in Israel, 4.2% in South Korea. They are improving this and they have targeted this. So they will be investing more in the research. Transforming the regulatory system of higher education is the most important part of this national education policy. Regulation of higher education has been too heavy-handed for decades. Too much has been attempted to be regulated with too little effect. Lot of regulations are being there, and hence they are planning to have 4 structures with 4 independent verticals within one umbrella, that is Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. You can see the first vertical of HECI will be the National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC. It will function as the common single point regulator for the higher education sector, including teacher education and only excluding medical and legal education. The second vertical of HECI will be meta accrediting body, that is National Accreditation Council, NAC. Accreditation of institutions will be based primarily on basic norms, public self-disclosure, good governance and outcomes. It will be carried out by an independent ecosystem of accrediting institutions supervised and overseen by National Accreditation Council, NAC. Then third vertical of HECI will be the Higher Education Grants Council, which will carry out the funding and financing of higher educational institutions based on transparent criteria, including the Institutional Development Plans, IDP. And the fourth vertical of HECI will be the General Education Council, which will frame expected learning outcomes and graduate attributes, which are now program outcomes for higher education programs. Now there are a lot of professional councils. You might be knowing that Indian Council for Agricultural Research, Veterinary Council of India, National Council for Teacher Education, Council of Architecture, National Council for Vocational Education and Training, professional standard setting bodies. Now they will play a key role in the higher education system and will be invited to be members of under one umbrella, GEC, General Education Council. You can see here transforming the regulatory system of higher education, functioning of autonomous bodies, regulation NHERC, accreditation NAC, funding HEGC, and academic standard setting GEC, General Education Council, and they would work on the public transparent disclosure. Curbing commercialization of education. Multiple mechanisms with checks and balances will combat and stop the commercialization of higher education. It is not saying that there would not be the investment from the private bodies, but they would keep a track on that, and they would try to control the commercialization of higher education, and more government funding shall be there in the higher education. Effective governance and leadership for higher education institutions. It is the effective governance which is very important that enables the creation of culture of excellence and innovation in higher education institutions possible. And hence, who are the members of our board of governance and or the academic council or board of studies, which will give us the new way of thinking and the opportunities which are being available would become a part of your curriculum and the pedagogy of your higher education institution. So world-class institutions, if you see globally, including India, has been indeed in the existence of strong self-governance, outstanding merit-based appointments of the institutional leaders. So through a suitable system of graded accreditation and graded autonomy, they will be given the autonomy to regulate in their own way and have the creativity in their institution, basically. So innovation and excellence is possible with the autonomy only. Now coming to the part 3, the other key areas of the focus of this national education policy is professional education. So preparation of professionals should have education in the ethic, importance of public purpose, education in the discipline, and education for practice. Right? So it must centrally involve critical and interdisciplinary thinking, discussion, debate, and research and innovation. And hence, professional education should not take place in isolation. That is very important. And hence, multidisciplinary education must be adopted by all the universities coming together. Either agriculture universities, legal universities, health science universities, or standalone institutions or technical universities to come together. Then adult education and lifelong learning. The opportunity to attain foundational literacy, obtain an education, and pursue a livelihood must be viewed as the basic rights of every citizen. Literacy and basic education open up whole new worlds of personal, civic, economic, and lifelong learning opportunities for individuals that enable them to progress personally and professionally. At the level of the society and the nation, literacy and basic education are powerful force multipliers which greatly enhance the success of all other development efforts. Now, per capita GDP is proportional to literacy rates. Wherever the literacy rate has been high in all developed countries, the per capita GDP is much more. And here we can see that the literacy rate is very less. And hence, we have to see to it that how can we improve the literacy rate through the gross enrollment ratio. That should be improved, GER. Gross enrollment ratio is very, very important. Right? Then, promotion of Indian languages, arts and culture. Since India is a treasure of culture developed over thousands of years and manifested in the form of arts, works of literature, customs, traditions, linguistic expressions, artifacts, heritage sites, and more. Crores of people from around the world enjoy basically in visiting India, enjoying the Indian hospitality. They purchase the Indian handicrafts, handmade textiles. They read our classical literature. They practice yoga and meditation. They are being inspired by Indian philosophy by participating in India's unique festivals. They appreciate India's diverse music and arts. So we have to situate that how can we promote these Indian languages, arts and culture along with the science and technology. Not only that, we are just concentrating on that. Then technology use and integration has become a very important part right now. Use and integration of technology to improve multiple aspects of education will be supported and adopted, provided these interventions are rigorously and transparently evaluated in relevant contexts before they are scaled up. An autonomous body they are creating, National Educational Technology Forum. They will be forming that, NEPF. The aim of National Educational Technology Forum will be to facilitate decision making on the induction, deployment, and use of technology by providing to the leadership of institutions, state and central governments, and other stakeholders the latest knowledge and research. Right? Then online and digital education, ensuring the equitable use of technology. Now you might be experiencing that you are taught in an online mode, and now even if you see the budget which was being proposed by the Honorable Finance Minister, digital university is being proposed. You can see the name itself is a digital university. Online programs will be promoted in the emerging areas, and online degree programs would be available. Means you can get your degrees at your own place or learning from your home. Even the relaxation in the attendance will be there. Only the proctored examinations will be mandatory, which would be either conducted by National Testing Agency, or the institutions will conduct the online education, online examinations, proctored online examinations, I should say. Not only the simple online education, means for examinations they have to go to the centers and attend, like we do it in the NPTEL and SWAYAM courses also. So online and digital education, wherein ensuring the equitable use of technology will be there. Then they will be conducting the pilot studies for online education. Appropriate agencies will investigate the benefits of integrating education with online education. Right now, like I have shown, that conventional education will be now 60% and 40% will be still online. And even that means students will get the opportunity to learn on their own through online digital means opportunities which are available or which are provided by the even government of India. So, okay. Digital infrastructure is now a need because a lot of digital technology is being used. So digital infrastructure is a need. So there is a need to invest in creation of open public digital infrastructure in the education sector that can be used by multiple platforms and point solutions to solve for India's number of problems. Because see, each institution, if it is having the enough investment, they can go for this digital infrastructure. Otherwise, there must be some platform which is available which that educational institution can utilize. So they are planning to have the infrastructure being available at the central locations, those resources, so that they would be available to the higher education institutions. So online teaching platforms and tools they are trying to provide through the SWAYAM, Diksha, which would be extended to provide teachers with a structured, user-friendly, rich set of assistive tools for monitoring progress of the learners. Tools such as two-way video and two-way audio interface for holding online classes are a real necessity, as the present pandemic has shown. We have seen that, and see, even though the online system has the limitations, because we cannot interact with each and every person who is attending the session online, because It's not possible. It is possible in the physical classes, wherein at a time, at a glance, all the students are being seen, right? And all the attendees are being seen, whosoever is attending that, so they can means interact with them. Otherwise, here, if we allow the person to unmute themselves, then it would disturb the entire rhythm of the class. Basically. So there are some limitations, but we have to see to it that what are the advantages. We have to take the advantage of that. Content creation, digital repository, and its dissemination will become a very, very important aspect nowadays, right? So digital repository of content will be available right now. If you Google for the information of any course, you will get the ready-made videos available, ready-made PPTs are available, and you can learn from that. So repository is very, very important to keep the digital resources available at one place, so that they are even they are converted into the different languages, also in multiple languages, right? So even IICT is taking a lot of initiatives to convert the existing material which is available in English into the regional languages, so that it can be understood by the people who want to just know that technology in their regional language or mother tongue. Addressing the digital divide, given the fact that there still persists a substantial section of the population whose digital access is highly limited, basically. See, even though we are going for this online system, we can see that some students, they are not having the laptops or the mobile or the internet connectivity at their places, and due to this, they face the problem then, right? So that's why this also needs to be addressed, and hence this NEP, because we are projecting that we shall be using the technology to impart this education, and hence we have to address this digital divide. That is very important, right? Then virtual labs concept is also basically becoming largely possible, means that people, each and every lab would not be basically means you can get a feel, but for at least emerging branches it would be of use, and even at least you will be able to see the animation and the simulation of the various systems. So existing e-platforms like Diksha, Swayam and Swayam Prabha will also be leveraged for creating virtual labs, so that all students have equal access to quality practicals and hands-on experiment-based learning experiences, even though you will be doing it virtually through your digital portal only, right? Now, you can see that there are online assessment and examinations, basically appropriate bodies such as the proposed National Assessment Center or PARAG, school boards, National Testing Agency, and other, they would be identifying some appropriate bodies to go for online assessment and examinations. Because see, in online examinations, you face different kinds of problems. So that's why their problems are different as compared to the classroom examinations which we were taking since long, right? So they are basically means they are saying that why not to go for blended mode of learning, right? Means there is the importance of face-to-face learning also, and you can even impart the digital learning through online mode. So blended mode is being promoted, and that's why this blended model of learning is being presented in the NEP 2020. Then they have thought of that there is a need to create a dedicated unit for building of world-class digital infrastructure, educational digital content and capacity. So technology which we are using in our education is continuously changing, continuously is improved. So hence it is a journey, not the destination, and its capacity will be needed to change all the time to replace the outdated technology with the new technology. Like we are just witnessing earlier, our internet speed and nowadays internet speed or the requirement of the internet is increased manifolds, even with the digital sets, either digital handsets, these laptops or other systems, they have increased manifold. So there is a need to create a dedicated unit for this. Then other changes which are there under National Education Policy 2020 are National Education Commission. They are forming, headed by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. Then there will be an academic bank of credit. See, this is a very unique thing which they have implemented. We will just finish in just another 2-3 minutes. Just pay attention on this academic bank of credit, wherein like you have a bank account, you have the money in that. Similarly, you will have the bank account wherein your credits, the academic credits would be deposited. If suppose you start with your program of BTech and you earn suppose 16 credits in that first year, and then for some reason you just discontinue that and you go into the field or you carry out your other work, and then again you come back, your credits are available in that bank, and suppose you want to earn some credits from other bank, so it will get added, and then again if you discontinue, again you will whenever you will learn, it will get accumulated, and whenever your credit of that requirement for that degree is fulfilled, either 80 credits for masters or 160 credits for bachelor's degree, you will be awarded that degree from the parent institution from where you started that. Then we have already known that National Research Foundation at a central level, they would be having then special education zones, like earlier such type of SEZs were made for industries. So similarly, they are planning for the special education zones wherein the area has not been represented. So there, like the education institutions will be established. Then the Gender Inclusion Fund for assisting the nation in the education of female and transgender children. Then National Educational Technology Forum, NEP, a platform to facilitate exchange of ideas or technology usage to improve the learning. The policy proposes new language institutions, such as the Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation, and the National Institute or Institutes for Pali, Persian, and Prakrit. Other bodies proposed to include National Mission for Mentoring, National Book Promotion Policy, National Mission on Foundation Literacy and Numeracy. Even the mentoring system has been started basically by Government of India for mentoring for accreditation preparation, mentoring for this innovation and research. So they are coming up with new ideas so that how to reach to all with the concept which government wants to inculcate. Now the last part is making it happen. So much and so much is included in that NEP 2020. We have to make it happen in this coming 15 years time up to 2040. So strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education, financing affordable and quality education for all. So the policy, we have to see to it that how we can make it happen. That is very important. So the first is implementation of the spirit and intent of the policy will be the most critical matter which we are currently doing. We have to understand first of all the thought process, the means what is the spirit behind that each and every point which has been included in that policy. Second, it is important to implement the policy initiatives in a phased manner. Third, prioritization will be very important in ensuring optimal sequencing of policy points. Which one should be implemented first, which should be taken on a priority basis, that is very important. That most critical and urgent actions are taken up first, thereby enabling a strong base. Fourth is comprehensiveness in implementation will be the key, as this policy is interconnected and holistic. Fifth step is, since education is a concurrent subject, it will need careful planning, joint monitoring, and collaborative implementation between the center and the states. Sixth, timely infusion of requisite resources, human, infrastructural, and financial at the central and state level will be crucial for the satisfactory execution of this NEP 2020. And finally, careful analysis and review of the linkages between multiple parallel implementation steps. So this is all about National Education Policy 2020. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you about what is there for each one of you in NEP 2020. Thank you. Over to you, Swati.
Yeah, it was a very wonderful and knowledgeful session, sir. Now, if any participant is having any question, he or she can unmute themselves or put the question in the chat box for the same.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Shahnawaz.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And your deliberation on the entire NEP is really very comprehensive. We are trying to have some insights into our curriculum also.
Yes, yes. And autonomous institutions have the basically means flexibility to incorporate few things on their own. And this NEP 2020 has made it easy for them to implement those issues. Because now government is coming up with more vibrant and transparent system, and they want major reforms to be taken place at the higher education level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, absolutely. So, sir, on behalf of our institute, I would like to thank you, Dr. Jaju sir, for sparing his busy schedule and giving us a detailed insight about the new national education policy. And hopefully our student will also understand, and faculty will also get into the more detailed view of how we can implement this new NEP into our day-to-day curriculum, and a way ahead we can expect a good outputs out of it. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If any question is there from the student or faculty, we can take for 5 minutes or 10 minutes once. Yeah. Yes, yes. See, they are basically asking the institutions to become multidisciplinary. That is one change which we have to do. Then they are saying that if student exit after 1 year, after completing 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, they will get something from that higher education, right? Then Basically, they are asking the higher education to include the holistic way of developing the students, not that only focusing on just the engineering knowledge or science knowledge, but the other aspects also, which earlier we were not focusing on, but right now we are focusing on that. Means basically when autonomous institutions started teaching this Indian Constitution or history course, or even the hobby which is being practiced or carried forward by the student at the higher education level, still that is also being given. If suppose credit of 0.5, the student will be able to groom or develop his own hobby, either in music or something like that. So lot of changes will take place at higher education institution level, but it will take time. They should become multidisciplinary, and multiple exits and multiple entries options would be there, and the credits shall be given to cover the complete holistic development of the student. Right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So I take immense pleasure in presenting the vote of thanks. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our special guest, Dr. S.B. Jaju sir, who despite of his busy schedule has found time to grace this session with his valuable knowledge. I also express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Preeti Agarwal ma'am, Director GHRIBM, Dr. Pranav Charkha sir, Dean Academics GHRIBM, Shri Pitamji Rai Soni sir, Executive Director, for their esteemed presence and guidance. I take immense pleasure in informing that this session has been conducted in association with Institute Innovation Council, that is IIC. I hope all the students would have enjoyed the session and learned something new which can upgrade their knowledge. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati and Dr. Pranav. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge with the faculties and students of this GHRI Institute of Business Management Jalgaon. Thank you so much. So should I leave the session then? Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye.